If this is really an emotional journey, what does that actually look like? Let's find out. Welcome to Sobriety Snippets for Women Over 40, where we elevate our mindset to trade hangovers for higher consciousness, one powerful snippet at a time. I'm Becca Jacobson, and you have landed right in the center of Snippet Land. Welcome aboard, gals. Today I got a special treat for you. You're going to hear another voice, not just mine. I recently had a beautiful chat with a woman named Karen who came into my world last November. That's about 5 months ago, and she's still with me, and she has decided to share her story with us. It's such a beautiful one, so I won't use up any of our precious time. Let's get right to it, settle in, and enjoy Karen's story. I just want to thank you so much for agreeing to share your journey with the gals here in Snippet Land, because we all have different stories, and it's great to hear other people's paths. So, everyone, I want you to give a warm welcome to Karen. Karen, where are you coming from?
I'm coming from southeast Missouri, about 100 miles from St. Louis, a town called Cape Girardeau, Missouri, on the Mississippi River.
Wow. Is that like Mark Twain country?
No, North Missouri is Mark Twain country. That would be
Okay.
Hannibal, and we're very far from Hannibal.
Okay. Well, when I think of the Mississippi, that's what I think of Mark
Well, it's a
Twain.
big, long river. Hannibal is
Beautiful.
also on the Mississippi.
Nice. Nice. Well, Karen, you recently finished the Perspectives program that I have, but what I'd like to know from you is how you got there. How did you end up in Perspectives? Did you come in through one of my live events? How did you get to Snippet Land? What's your story, love?
So I had been poking around the internet for quite a while looking for tips or tricks or books. And I'd read some books and I knew for sure I needed a plan. And I knew that my plan to stop drinking must include support. I had read a couple books and I'd read the articles and I'd read all the stuff. But I felt kind of lost on what would I really need to do. And I knew that it would need to be with other people. So, as I was surfing the internet, I ran across a snippet. I did not know what a snippet was, but it said for women over 40 and high achievers and on and on. However, the snippet thing goes, I can't think how it all is said exactly. And so I clicked on the snippet, the 10 or 15-minute snippet. And soon as I listened to the snippet, I thought, wow, this sounds really good. And she sounds really perky. And at the end of the snippet, it said, the sacred mirror is open. If you would like to leave a few comments, I will give a reflection back to you based on what I hear you saying. And that was just like an open door for me. I need someone as a guide to give me some feedback and maybe some direction. And the sacred mirror is not always open. And it was that day. And so I clicked on the sacred mirror. I answered 3 questions about my story. And a few minutes later, I had a reply, a personal reply from Becca. She had read my comments, and her wisdom and her caring were just leapt off of the page. I realized from her words that she gets it.
I'm going to interrupt you there for a moment. That was a lot, but a couple minutes? Is that how fast I got back to you? Seriously?
Well, maybe not a couple minutes, but
Okay.
it was a short
It,
time. Maybe I should
yeah.
say that better.
No, that's okay. Sometimes, I mean, it could happen. I try to get back within 24 hours. So I was just sort
Oh,
of curious,
it
but
was shortly. It was just
okay.
maybe
Nice.
15 or 20 minutes. Yes, I had a reply, and it was really impressive to me that someone would reach out and be personal and get right back to you in a short amount of time, specifically about what I had said. And so to me, that was a real push forward for me because I'm just not one to go online and click on somebody. I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that I had a qualified person that really was in it for because they care and because they were trained and because they had been there. And Becca was all of those things. And there was just something about Becca's demeanor and her spirit that just was perky and caring and real. And it really helped encourage me that this is something that would help.
A couple of things I want to say that's really important. I think it's important. You are a courageous woman, Karen. So you've experienced some changes in your time here in Snippet Land, and I know you're a Snippetlandian. I just made that up. Do you like it? Snippet gal. But you, first of all, you knew way back, you said, I knew I needed support. You had read and studied, looked around, you knew you needed support, which is actually a huge step for most women. We say, I need to fix this, but I can do it myself. And so you were already ahead of the game there. Then you actually click the link, but doing the sacred mirror, that takes courage as well. So all the steps along the line are indicating your courage and your desire. This is it. It's time for a change for me. And that's what this requires, right? I always say how we have to be willing to take uncomfortable action. But when we do, amazing things happen. So I just want everybody to know that. It might not be simple, but when you do it, it's worthwhile. So thank you, love. Tell us about January.
After Becca and I connected through the Sacred Mirror, Juicy January was coming up, and we always hear about dry January, but she had a whole nother spin on Juicy January. It's going to be more than, it's not going to be dreary and dry. It's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a new start, and we're going to go do this together, and it's going to be helping you see next steps. And that's what I was looking for so much. Dry January is a thing. So I thought, oh, okay, well, this will be good. I can be with some people online that are joining the journey, and that will be good. And it felt safe and it felt useful and kept me accountable. And all of those things are so vital. And so there was nothing to lose and certainly a lot to be gained. And so I didn't go in with any preconceived notion of expectations that it should be this way or that way. I just thought, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be part of the group. And it felt really hopeful because at the time that I decided I'm going to start looking for something to commit to, it all came together and each step led to the other. I always say that one thing leads to the next, and you don't know the next until you take that one scary step. So thank you, Becca. It just all came together. And Juicy January then became the opportunity to have support, try out a group with other people, be connected on WhatsApp, hear other people's stories and comments. And I think a real big appeal and a thing that really helps is the way perspectives is targeted toward, I want to say this the right way. Perspectives is reaching a group of people like myself who are educated, professional, got it together, high achievers, like she says, raised our families, doing well. We make the world turn. Not saying that to be arrogant, but to say, I'm sorry that there's such a stigma around alcohol, that you're a loser if you are abusing alcohol or drinking, whatever you want to call it. And so I guess it's pride. We don't like to be categorized
Yeah.
into that group. And I'm like, I've done a lot of things and I don't want to be categorized and labeled. And so that was very freeing. And it also was just another nudge of there's a lot of women like me.
Yes.
And it just really was encouraging to be with others who also understood the struggle, but they were doing life. They were doing well. And so this was distinct and unique and encouraging to for all of those reasons.
Amazing. And to be clear, from Juicy January, you mentioned Perspectives. Perspectives is my 8-week group coaching program, the Perspectives Experience. It's got a lot of juicy stuff in there, like mini retreats, your own private retreats and things like that. But when you finish Juicy January, then you are one of the women who decided, I'm going to stay another 2 months with Becca. because that's how
Yeah.
that works, right? I make the offer at the end. I say, okay, gals, who wants to stay? And of course, invariably, some do and some don't. And you were one of the ones who did. And now we're here in mid April, and we've been together all that time. And how is your life different because of all that, Karen?
Wow. Just one thing I would say to be clear, the Juicy January had no cost, no charge. And I got so much from that. And I knew that going deeper in a longer commitment and being more accountable and taking the course, the perspectives course for a fee would also bring me further down the road and help me go deeper.
Yeah, Karen, investing in this journey is very helpful. I mean, I do free events a lot, but when we pull out our card and invest financially, we have to invest time, we have to invest our hearts, we have to invest a willingness. But when we invest money, our subconscious pays attention because our society, that's what we value, money, right? I mean, among other things, of course. So it's a powerful action to
It
take.
is. It's kind of put your money where your mouth is. I really am
Yeah.
committed. I'm going to spend my money on this.
And it helps you continue to show up. Oh, I better show up. I paid for this. I mean, hey, whatever takes, it takes. That's what worked for me in 2018. My
Yeah.
husband and I, we had to take out a loan so I could get the help I needed. And I was so mad. Like, I can't believe we have to pay money so I can not drink. Why can't I just not drink? Well, I had tried that for over 30 years. He just looked at me like, are you kidding? Is this a
How,
joke? What are you
how
saying?
many more times will it take?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you decided to do perspectives. So we've been together, it's mid-April, been together through a lot since late 2025. How has your life changed in general because of that?
How has my life changed? Oh my gosh. There are so many aspects just by that change in your life just by not using alcohol. That's one layer. There are other things that change your life because you're connecting with other people, receiving support, giving support, cheering each other on, just sharing the journey with other people and celebrating their wins and holding each other up when things go downhill. And that we're all not perfect and there's a lot of grace. Nobody's judging, nobody's keeping score. It's just so powerful. And that changes your life when you share your ups and downs and when you encourage others and when you become part of a community who are seeking the same goals and the same healing and the same values. And another thing that changed was not the focus on alcohol and drinking, but focusing upon what are you thinking? What is the emotional driver? And that just puts a whole nother shift on how you approach things. Instead of spending so much time in your head about alcohol and drinking, the time and the things that are going on in your head and in your thoughts and in your journaling is about your emotions, your feelings, and what are those feelings telling me? What business, what is there unattended to in my heart and soul and life that's painful that needs attention? And it's those things that cause us to take a break, drown out those feelings, those loud voices in our heads, the sadness in our hearts. Numbing things works for a little, but it only, and I read a line on something else I was looking at the other day that when has alcohol ever given you more than it has taken away? And boy, that zeroes right in on your life changes when you change the habit with alcohol
Yeah,
because you're doing the emotional work to grow.
that's
And then the
it.
alcohol's not needed. And so many more joys come because you're finding the stories of your life that are kind of the ghost of the past that come up and tools and strategies.
I love what you said. I wrote it down so I don't forget it. You said, what's coming up that needs attending to, or what's unattended. That is so beautiful because that's what it is little
It
haunting,
is. And
little
when we do,
things.
we do sometimes find those things and we don't attend to them. We push them down. We don't want to go there again. I thought I dealt with this. well, why is this such a big deal? I'm not a teenager anymore. Why does that comment from my childhood still get me? But it's human. It's called being human. And so the permission that we're given to feel the feelings and tell our story without judgment and have compassion, and others relate to your story, others are helped by your stories. I'm helped by listening to the stories of others. So, how things have changed, lots of freedom. Freedom to feel your feelings, freedom to tell your story, freedom to show up, freedom to try something new, freedom to risk, lots of freedom.
Wow, I
And
love that. Beautiful
what
word.
is better than that? And that's the thing we're trying to find is freedom from the past, freedom from the negative voices in our heads, freedom
Yeah.
to grow. That's a
And
lot.
we try to get it through alcohol, and it does work for a few minutes,
It works
and
until
only
it
a few
doesn't.
minutes.
It works until it doesn't. And then
Yes. Then,
then
then the
there
price
you
is too
are.
high.
You have two
Yes.
problems.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love how you focused in on what are you thinking, right? So this is an emotional journey. It's a mindset journey. I called my program Perspectives because that's what I want for you gals, because it's what I got, a new
New
perspective on life,
perspective. Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
can't take different actions if we are thinking the same thoughts every day, the same thoughts. And we do, we think the same thoughts. And so my goal in not only the snippets and in the free events I do, but in perspectives, all of it is to give people new ideas. And if you have a new idea, then who knows what could happen if you don't surface dwell it, if you actually dig into the new idea and play with it and practice it and see what happens in your life, things change. But that's really hard to do alone. And that's
Yes.
why when you
That's the
have the
key.
courage to take the step.
And there's something really comforting about being understood without being judged. People who felt what you're feeling, people who understand your struggle and why you have that struggle and how tempting in the beginning. And that's another thing that has changed is I had not really given this any thought, but Becca talked a lot about early on in early sobriety. In early sobriety, this is how it will be. This is what you can expect. But it won't always be like that. It's going to just get better. And that was a real new learning for me that this is a progression of healing and in moving into new ways of being and doing take time. And those early challenges will move into something new and something better and a new type of sobriety. I really wasn't aware of that because you just kind of have this idea that, oh, it's just going to be a struggle the rest of my
Yeah.
life. And it was
It,
so refreshing to find out this will be over eventually and you will be a whole new person in another place and you won't even think about alcohol. That's
yes.
revolutionary. That is big.
That's huge. That's all I wanted. That's all
That's
you
that's
wanted. That's
it.
all we
Yes.
want.
Yes. It's now into April almost. I started moving this direction in December, got connected with Juicy January, and 4 or 5 months, it's all different. It really is
Wow.
true.
Wow. Look at that. Only 4 or 5 months. And that's the question I have for all the gals in Snippet Land. If you're stuck in that loop, just trying to get started, where do you want to be in 4 months from now? Let's look at that. It will, in a blink of an eye. One thing about aging, right? Time goes so fast. Have you noticed that?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, Karen. And I also really appreciated how you keep showing up because you're still with me. You're not going anywhere. You've decided to stay another couple of months, 3 actually. And a lot of women do that. There's no pressure, but at the end of the 8 weeks, I invite you, would you like to stay longer? And a lot of women do this. This is a growing journey that takes time. I would argue the first year is a great time to be supported. But my point is that you have just kept showing up. And I know there's been difficult times, but you keep showing up, keep being there for others, sharing your journey and hearing their struggles. So it's also you. I mean, I'm putting out there all I can, but the gals here in Snippet Land and you and those who got to meet me halfway, come and meet me halfway and we can change your life. And that's what you did.
Well, thank you. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always wanting to read and learn, and I've been in a lot of professional groups and leader training, but also a lot of spiritual formation and growth groups. And I just have had a desire earlier that as a young adult to be my best self and to take care of myself, my health, and to be strong and wise and growing in grace. And so that's been a high value for me, and it was really disappointing. I was really disappointed in myself that how did I get to a point of misusing and abusing alcohol? That really disturbed me because that it was so off of the path for me. So I had to really look at that. How did I get here? What is really going on?
Yeah.
And I'd gone through a lot of difficult losses and things, and I'd had a lot of counseling, and I was really doing well. And it was a slow creep. And I think that's part of the subtlety of the abuse of alcohol is you just get further down the road than you think, and then you don't want to believe it until you have to see it. You can't no longer
Yeah.
see it. And
And
that
you
really,
definitely don't want to share it.
yeah, exactly. And I'm a leader. I've been in lots of committees and leadership and training things, and I was a registered nurse for years, and I knew what this was doing. I knew this wasn't smart for my health, and I'm 68 and I should know better.
Yes. Wow.
So, I will say it was humbling. I didn't want to admit that I had allowed myself to come to this point. I was disappointed in myself,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I had to accept that there are reasons that brought me to this place, and I needed to find out what those were.
Yeah. Karen, that's exactly it, my dear. Everything you just said is like, that's when I sit here on my side and I think, who do I want to talk to? Because I get to visualize who do I want to talk to? A certain type of woman. And you just described her. All your life, you want to be your best, right? And because it's my journey too. You just described me and many, many, many other women. And then there we are with this life that we visualize, and there's alcohol. It doesn't
Yes,
fit. It's like, where did this come? This doesn't, it's the black
yes,
sheep of my life.
yes.
And we think
People
we're
look up to
alone. We
me.
think there's something wrong with us.
And then I found myself, and this was a real early wake up call. I found myself having kind of this secret in the background, and people were looking up to me. And I like
Yeah.
another value of mine is being authentic. And I began to see this isn't being true, and I don't want to continue this.
I can't tell you how many women I hear that from. I'm tired of lying. And it's not because we're liars. Every other area of our lives is authentic, but we feel we
Yes,
have to. And the
yes,
shame and the disappointment in ourselves is such a, that's why that's a huge part of this journey. Because the women who come in who are feeling, there's just so much, it was for me, it was just so much shame around it and mystified. Like, how mystified? This doesn't fit my life. Disappointed is a great word,
yeah.
disappointed in yourself.
Integrity. And one of the first things we worked on early was forgiving yourself. And that was one of the things, I just had to forgive myself that I had allowed myself to use a substance instead of just facing up to, and I just didn't want to go back to old crap.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I thought I'd gotten, and I had done a lot of work of growing and learning, and
I
I
think we
just
all
didn't
have.
expect to run into this again like this.
Yeah. Most of the women in my world have had therapy. I've had some therapists. I certainly had lots and lots of it. And it's something different we need. I really believe that. It's
Yes,
something different when you put alcohol in the mix. It's not the
yeah,
same. It's
right.
a different story. And that's what I've built here is something that focuses on that. And what women who sense that and feel that experience the change, like you. So, Karen, I'm curious to know what have you discovered about yourself through this process?
What I've discovered about myself is that all of us have something that we need to pay attention to. All of us have room for growth. And no matter who we are, there's always a deeper sense of learning and depth, and faith and spiritual life are important to me. And I've always had this kind of trajectory, like I said, of continuing to grow. I never expected that growing through the process to sobriety would be one of those things, but but it has been, and I don't feel shame about that. I feel pride. I feel proud that I addressed this issue that could come to any of us. I didn't have alcohol in my family. I didn't drink till I was 40. And I didn't drink all the time, and I didn't drink every night, and I didn't on and on.
Yeah.
It was a slippery slope and habit. And
I'm
anyway,
glad you're able to feel proud of yourself because you should, right? To step up to this,
yeah.
because this is not an alcohol journey. That's not
And
about
that's
that.
the thing, Becca, that was the key difference to help reframe. When I say I have little groups that we go out and we have a little dinner and we drink, and I've always had a drink, more than one drink. Love the wine, love the wine. But the last couple of times we've met, I said, you know what? When they passed me I said, I have quit drinking. And they're like, really? Good for you. I
Yeah.
mean, they saw that as a positive. And I said, it just got to be too much of a habit. And I didn't feel like I had to go through some big deal, some big explanation. It had gotten to be too much of a habit, and I didn't want it anymore. And I didn't feel left out. I didn't feel like, oh, this isn't going to be any fun. I felt proud of myself, and others felt proud of me too. So that's changed, that I have a new perception of dealing with this and coming through the learning with new insight and new appreciation for the process, and just take it as it comes. And when the thing you need pops up, you'll know it. And
Yeah. I hear a lot from women that, what do I say when people offer me a drink? What do I say? Look, this isn't high school anymore. It's like, okay. I mean, I get it. I'm being a little facetious. That's what tends to happen here. But we are afraid that if we say something that people are automatically going to think, oh my God, she must be an alcoholic. And our true friends, first of all, it won't matter. But I love your choice of words. It was just getting to be a habit. And what did you find? People just supporting you, right?
yes, and
No judgment.
that's happened in two or three scenarios. And sometimes I take something I want to drink, and other times I just have a Coke.
Yeah.
So it's
Most people aren't spending their days thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves, and that's the truth, right?
that is, my mother told me that once.
Yeah.
She told my sister that once. She said, well, I don't want to wear this because what do people think of blah, blah, blah. And my mom said, well, what makes you think they're thinking about you?
Yeah. They're not. They're not.
They're
So
not.
Karen, is there anything you'd want to say to another woman who's where you once were? Let's say back in December. Any last words of wisdom from Karen?
When you get to the point, I think it's a process. All of us have done this, I think, in the group. You read the articles, you take the quiz. Well, I'm not really an alcoholic. I'm just drinking too much. Well, maybe I'm just. And I had talked to my doctor about this, and I knew I wanted to cut back. And at first, I really thought, well, I just want a strategy for cutting back. And the more I understood about the process of the brain and the neuroscience of stuff and the nervous system, and it's a whole body, whole person issue. And it took me a while to accept and be committed to, you know what, I'm just going to quit. I need to quit. I'm not going to do any moderation. I think I tried that already by myself, but I thought, just move on, just go on. And Becca's such an inspiration.
Karen, let's talk. You said the M word, so now I'm going to interrupt. We're going to talk about the M word. Moderation. That's really what we all want, most of us. If I could just drink like a so-called normal person, if I could just control it, moderate, control, whatever word you want to use. And if you have a problem with alcohol, you can't. That's a message I put out into Snippet Land, and I repeat it often. Because if you could control your drinking, hear this, everybody, hear this. If you could control your drinking, what would you do? You would control your drinking. You wouldn't have to try over and over. And yet we do it. I am not laughing at or judging anyone because this is what I did. Year after year, I come up with a new plan. My poor husband. Oh, what's it this time? Saturdays only, or only in a full moon? Like, what's the new plan, right? Only when, you like silliness. He's not being mean, but we come up with these absurd plans and it's never going to work. The only plan
You
is that we
know,
need to quit and we need support.
that's the truth of it. And you can just keep fooling yourself, but you'll just keep getting deeper and deeper. And I finally had to just accept and surrender to the idea that this is my journey and I'm going to be healthy and put this behind me, then I'm going to stop drinking.
Awesome.
And
That's got to be,
I don't regret it. I did try a few little times here and there. I had a few little drinks over the 4 months, but not much. And then I was
yeah.
like, it didn't even matter. I don't even care.
Yeah, because around here we don't.
That was a big thing.
That is a big thing, especially because around here we don't count days and shame people.
Yes.
So I'm glad, you tried it and you didn't like it. It's like, what am I doing? I don't want this. I'm done. Now, not every, we got to be careful, but Karen, I'm just so honored that you've been in my world this long. I'm glad we're going to spend a few more months together. And thank you again so much for sharing all of your beautiful words of wisdom and love with all the gals here in Snippet Land. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Becca. And I just want to say my last shout out to everyone. Becca's the real deal. She cares.
Thank you.
She's been there and she's wise and she wants the best for you.
Thank you, Karen. Wow, what a beautiful journey Karen is on. And gals, that journey is open to every single one of you. And as Karen pointed out, a beautiful place to start is the sacred mirror. Guess what? The doors are open right now. They are open. Time has come for you to try the sacred mirror. What is it? A private, confidential online form where you share a tiny bit of your story with me and I respond with a private voice note just for you. The link is in the show notes, or you can just go to beccajacobson.com. That's beccajacobson.com, and I'll see you in the sacred mirror. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back next time so I can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.